What's going on, guys? Luke22SV here, back with the 17th round of the Mick Schumacher career mode. We're here for the Japanese Grand Prix this weekend. After a few days out away from the career mode, I was away for a few days. So it's been a while since the Russian Grand Prix. We're now moving into this weekend with the 9th best package, actually, after the start of this. But what can we do? It's still very close in the midfield. Renault all the way down to us in 9th at the moment. It's looking very close with Williams in a bit of a distance 10th, but they can still improve. With the rule changes coming in for next season, who knows who will be best, who knows who will be worst. What the part of the exciting thing about this game, what made it such a good career mode. But moving on to our qualifying session, we are now coming into turn 1, and one of the best tracks on the calendar. This is, look how flowing it is, just constantly going from one corner to the next, and it's just such a good track, especially the S's, and then for the second sector as well. And you got, of course, got the final sector of 130R. It's just all three different sectors, all three really good sectors. You come through Dunlop Curve and towards Degner 1 and Degner 2. This is where our first attempt went wrong, actually. We got onto the curb. It just got us out of shape, and we just correcting, and end up in the wall. Now, naturally, if that was real life, we would probably be out of the session at this point. But because we can reverse out of the gravel on this game, we can get out and back into the pits. And now we can put on a new front wing and put on some new tyres and go again. Hopefully, this time it'll be a better lap. As we head into turn 1, we're actually very wide in turn 1. And in fact, coming towards the first S, we get onto the curb and we're out of shape and into the wall, and a complete disaster for us. We're out of the qualifying, and well, the curbs can be quite horrible to you here, as we've just found out. We're going to be starting from the back for the Japanese Grand Prix with a lot of work to do heading into the race. But a complete disaster for us when we're just looking to impress our team. We were starting to impress. I see our teammates in 12th, so Sauber still, despite having the 9th best car on paper, we're still around the thick of the midfield. Bottas getting pole then, which is exactly what he needs to do, because he's had a terrible season so far up until this point. Vettel second, Raikkonen third. So we head on into the race then for the Japanese Grand Prix. What can we do from 20th place?
We're live today from the Mie Prefecture of Japan as we look forward to the Japanese Grand Prix.
Here we are then for the starting lineup for the Japanese Grand Prix. It's going to be Valtteri Bottas on pole from Sebastian Vettel alongside him. So Mercedes and Ferrari looking quite Linus third here, with Raikkonen third, Bottas fourth, a whole second down off his teammate. Verstappen fifth, Perez sixth, Ricciardo seventh. So Force India looking strong around here, and Force India as a team we could actually get close to in the constructors, but I think that might be a bit out of reach if they're both looking strong, because both the Saubers, and as you can see, Leclerc is down in last, and myself is in 19th. There's a complete disaster for Sauber heading into the Japanese Grand Prix. With Leclerc having penalties, I had penalties in Singapore, so we're both taking penalties now. But now we move on to the start of the Japanese Grand Prix, and it's lights out and away we go, and it's a very poor start from both of us, both keeping our position in 19th and 20th. So heading into turn 1, we've got nothing to lose in this race. We see a huge gap, and we pile down the inside of several cars. We're side by side with Alonso then, heading towards turn 2. We're ahead of Alonso now with just both the Hasses. Of course, the Haas is a team we've been fighting with all season. We've managed to finally get ahead of both the Haas cars in the constructors. We head around the outside, trying to get around the outside of Grosjean and down the inside of Magnussen, almost closing the door on us, but he lets us through as we get up into P11. And it's a great start for us. We've gained 8 places so far, with the Renaults ahead of us, and Renaults are looking to fight with Force India as well, keep their 4th in the constructors. We now look to get past Carlos Sainz into the hairpin as they all bunch together, and it's just so easy to make a move. It's exactly what we do, and just like Kamui Kobayashi made several moves in the Sauber at this track in 2010, I think it was, into that corner. So now they come towards Spoon. We're in P11, and it's looking good for us at the moment, with Hulkenberg ahead of us. We've got Sainz behind us, and we're a little bit wide, and moving then towards 130R, it's the end of the lap. So gained 9 places from P19. And here is the start again. Fairly sluggish start from both myself and Charles Leclerc, my teammate. We covered ahead of him though. He ends up going to the outside. We go to the inside, which is kind of how we gain so many places as well. We get past both the Williams, both the Toro Rosses, both the McLarens. So those three teams still tend to be the worst three at the moment. Haas and ourselves seem to be in our own little battle, and then it's Force India and Renault who are both in their little battle. And as you can see, both the Force Indias are behind the Red Bull. So Ricciardo's got a good start, and that's exactly what he needs really. Does not want to be behind Force India. As we get past both the Haas's, now then we're heading through Degner 1 and through Degner 2, up towards the next hairpin. Where all the cars just bunched together, and it's nice to make a move on Carlos Sainz. We just spot the opportunity, go down the inside and take 10th place from Carlos Sainz, and we're in the points, which is good news for us. But Force India looking to get further away. We've got to get past Hulkenberg quickly if we do stand a chance of keeping our position. And now then, we're on the end of lap 1 still, moving on to the end of lap 2. Carlos Sainz then is looking to make a move on us, so we can't shake him off just yet. And he's looking to make a move down the inside. There's yellow flags ahead of us, and there's Valtteri Bottas off the track, and we lose a bit of our front wing as well. And Bottas hits Sainz, and then he hits us. So what on earth happened there? We lost a bit of our front wing. Sainz has lost a huge chunk of his front wing. Bottas has lost his whole front wing, and he's out down the order, and we're almost running back with Carlos Sainz there as well. He has a huge problem with his front wing. He's lost a lot of it, and we're in P9. But here's what happened. We've got Valtteri Bottas in P2 at this stage, so he's lost his position from P1. He locks up, goes off the track, and now he's looking to get back onto it. Both the Force Indias go past, Hulkenberg goes past, he just runs straight into Sainz, and then loses his front wing on Magnussen, and hits several cars. He hits 4 cars. Here's the view from Sainz as we get forced off the track by Carlos Sainz, going into turn 1, but Bottas completely cuts across his path. Sainz loses half his front wing, and then he hits Magnussen. So I don't know what was going on with Bottas. He's just had such a poor season. And here's the view from Kevin Magnussen. As you can see, myself and Carlos Sainz going into turn 1. I end up going off the track, which sort of ends up being a good thing for me, because despite losing a bit of my front wing, colliding with, well, not colliding, but just making contact with Carlos Sainz, we end up avoiding Bottas, which could have proved us very costly. But now then, we've got Kevin Magnussen looking to get a move on us. Now, we got a bit of front wing damage, but it doesn't seem to be causing us too many problems, even though we just did go wide at Degner 2. But as you can see from the onboard view, the car looks exactly intact. And as we look there, it's a little bit yellow. It's meant to be green, but the handling doesn't feel too much different at this stage. We got to defend from the Haas's, but we're not going to be able to catch up with the Renault and the Force Indias, which is a bit frustrating. But it is what it is at this stage. We've just got to try and move on, hope for the best. From 9th position up the end of lap 2, we've got Kevin Magnussen behind us and Roman Grosjean behind him as well. So this is a huge battle. We've had several battles with Haas drivers, particularly Kevin Magnussen this season. Very clean battles actually. It started in Bahrain when we first started battling with Kevin Magnussen. As we head towards the pit window, as our cars got improved over the season, we've ended up being ahead of him a lot more, but now Haas is starting to get better again, and now we're starting to fall down the order. So the Haas is now starting to look like a better car, and maybe towards the end of the season we've got a huge fight on our hands to keep the constructors' position, which I think is the 6th place, because Force India 5th, Renault are 4th. So it's a huge constructors' battle. Can we get the extra resource points at the end of the season? Who knows? Or will we end up losing more resource points and then falling to 7th? This is a very tight battle between cars. Well, the constructors for 4th down to 7th. McLaren, Toro Rosso and Williams are further down the order, but Magnussen then is still behind us. We haven't felt the need to pit. We're not going to change our front wing, so because it would cost us a lot of time and places as well, because Magnussen and Grosjean are behind us, and Magnussen is looking now to the outside to make a move, but there's no overtaking opportunity into Spoon corner as we get towards the exit towards 130R, which is a very good opportunity to overtake even into 130R, but the chicane is also a good opportunity for overtaking as well, and then also to get close enough to get DRS onto the main straight. That's an overtaking opportunity into turn 1. There's not really too many opportunity to overtake around this track, but there is. Once you do get an overtake opportunity, you do have to take it, and we are defending with all we can from Kevin Magnussen. Going on to lap 4, he's looking to the outside now. We're on the inside, going into turn 1, looking to defend it, and we do just keep the inside line, and you can't get around the outside into turn 1, which is exactly what we want. We're just forcing him to stay behind us for as much as we can. And also, if the Force India, well, the Haas actually can close in on the cars ahead of us, then we just have to try and keep them ahead for as long as we can. But if we've moved then onto the end of lap 5, we're about to come into the pits, change our tyres, and I think as is Kevin Magnussen behind us. So we've slowed down, got straight to the pit limiter, and we're going into the pits, to pit, and we're going to change onto the soft tyres. Hopefully, no problems in the pit lane, get onto the soft tyres and be straight out, and there's a clean pit stop. No one actually held us up there, but that's the advantage of being at the end of the pits. So if you're in the middle, then you've got to come in, and there's some cars that have to go past you to get to their box, and that holds up a lot of people. And in fact, it has held up Kevin Magnussen, because he was right behind us as we came into the pits, but he's not to be seen coming out of the pits. And now then, he moves to get forward onto lap 9, pulled away from Kevin Magnussen a little bit, and now we're looking to catch up to the guys ahead of us. Nico Hulkenberg, Force Indias, and Red Bulls ahead of us, who we are looking to chase. It's been a bit of a dull race for us at the moment. We're in the middle of nowhere, just driving, trying to catch up with Renault of Hulkenberg and then the Force India, but both of them being ahead of us is going to be very difficult to take points away from Force India. So I think this could be the end of it if Force India both get points. I think they're 8th and 7th, 7th and 6th at the moment. So it'll be very difficult to score with our teammate down the order as well. So it's quite frustrating, but our main fight at the moment is just to keep Haas behind us, which is what we're doing, because we've got 2 points to their 1, which is good for us. As long as we're getting more points than they are, it's all that matters. And we're heading onto lap 10, catching up with the Renault of Hulkenberg and the Force Indias, and I think there's a Red Bull there as well. But there's been a season that's been up and down so far, but we've almost going down again there, because we got onto the grass, and that could have really ruined our race if it came off worse. But
expecting rain in around 10 to 15 minutes.
Expecting rain into around 10 to 15 minutes then, but that shouldn't really affect the end of the result. Getting off the track again, we're just trying our best to catch up with Hulkenberg with not too many laps to go. So gap to the car behind as well. So rain will not affect us at the end of this race, because 10 to 15 minutes, as you can see, Hulkenberg is just down the road. We're looking to catch him up as quick as we can. We're just taking a lot of risks as well, pushing really hard. As you can see on this lap, we've made a couple mistakes where we could have just ended up in the wall or in a spin, but there is a bit of a train in front of us as well. So if we can catch up with Hulkenberg and catch the Force Indias, we can perhaps gain a few positions here at the end of this race. Who knows? And now then, we're moving on to the start of lap 11, and we're close to Hulkenberg. We're starting to close in. You see there's cars ahead of us. Hulkenberg, looks like a Force India, probably Ocon or Perez. Well, it will be Ocon or Perez, but there's a Red Bull there as well. So I don't really know what has happened, why the Red Bull's going a bit slowly, but I'm going to try to take our opportunities to close in on Hulkenberg, see if we can get that point. As you can see, that we are closing in a lot now, and it's just over 2 seconds. We have got to Hulkenberg. Can we get an opportunity to overtake him? We're closing in, and we can see both the Hulkenberg and the Force Indias now. So it's looking really close. It's going to be really touch and go whether we can close in. Just one thing is, of course, you can close in, but can you overtake them? That's the main question. Because if we do close in, that's good. But the main question is, can we get close enough to overtake them? Which is something that we need to find out, because it's very difficult to overtake here. We've just got to take any opportunity we can get. Just using as much of the energy as we can, using as much fuel mix as we can. We don't have any fuel really to use to get close enough to these guys now. Coming towards Hulkenberg, as you can see, we are really closing in. We almost get off again, but we're really pushing really hard to try and get close enough to gain some more points here. And points are very important at this stage of the championship, because we do not know how it's going to end, because we're kind of stopped development on this car, whilst other teams still are developing their cars. We're very much focused on next season now, trying to get ahead of everyone else into next season, and everyone else is still focusing on this season. So with the chassis and aero upgrades that were happening into next season, we're looking to upgrade our engine now, because I think we've made all of our current chassis and aero parts into next season's regulations. So our main focus now is starting to improve the engine a bit. So improving the engine would make our car looking good into next season with the aero and chassis both integrated into next season's regulations. We've managed to improve a lot on the aero and chassis this season, so that will be really good. And I think if we can get it right, we can look like a strong team at the start of next season. Hopefully there'll be other teams looking strong as well, and maybe the top 3 teams will hopefully struggle, which will shake up the order a little bit. Exactly what we want, and they'll be excited for this career mode heading into season 2, which would be awesome. We head now then onto the last lap. How we got close enough, and it doesn't look like we have really closed too much over one lap. We still closed a little bit, but it doesn't really look like we have. Heading on to the last lap, we're just over a second now behind Hulkenberg. It doesn't really look likely that there will be an opportunity to overtake, but we're going to try everything we can on this last lap of this race into hot lap ERS mode 5, and we're going standard at the moment, which is not really what we want. We'd like to have rich mix, we'd like to have everything in order to close in on these guys, but coming through the S's, we've closed in a lot there. As you can see, we're really right behind Hulkenberg and the Force India as well. So coming through deck the 1 and deck the 2, we're just over a second, literally just over a second, getting onto the gravel again, but it doesn't cost us any time. Can we get a move into this next hairpin? We're looking close enough, just break it very late. You can see Hulkenberg and Ocon, and then Perez, and it looks like Daniel Ricciardo or Max Verstappen there. Can't really tell which Red Bull that is at this stage, but we're focused now then. Can we get past Hulkenberg with just a couple corners left? Coming into the spoon, it would look too far away, so we're not going to be able to make a move into spoon. But now then we can get a good run. But he's going to have slipstream from Ocon, he's going to have slipstream from Perez. Vettel crosses the line in first. But can we get close enough to Hulkenberg on this last little part of the lap, last little part of the race, through 130R? We're really close to Hulkenberg. Can we go down the inside? Yes, we can. We go down the inside of Hulkenberg, out of shape a little bit, but we get alongside Hulkenberg, around the outside, into the last corner of the last lap, and we made it past Hulkenberg into P8, and that's going to be a P8 in this race. So there's 2 extra points going right to the end of the race. A little bit disappointing for Hulkenberg, I'd imagine, but P8 it is after such a huge chase to Hulkenberg. Here is the replay as well. Going into the last corner, going down the inside of Nico Hulkenberg into P8, and we can love that as much as we want, and we get into P8, and it's going to be the end of the race, and it's 8th place. Our teammate is a little bit further down the order, don't really know exactly where, but a huge result for us, and starting from P19, so we gained 11 places in the end. So Vettel, Raikkonen winning there, so Ferrari looking strong at the end of this race. I think Hamilton was 3rd, obviously Bottas was well down the order after starting from pole position. So there you go. McLaren finishing just outside the point. Magnussen finishing 10th, so we gained I think it's 3 points over past. So we get driver of the day as well. So we move on to the standings. We're in P8, so we just 3 points behind Sainz in the best of the rest battle in the drivers. But as you can see, we're quite far behind Force India now. We're just 5 points behind Renault. So it's looking close between Force India and Renault. We're still looking to get away from Haas. We're still 6 points ahead of them. So it'll be all to play for with just 4 rounds left of this season. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you soon in USA for the 18th round of the career mode. Thank you everyone, and I'll see you in just a couple days time, hopefully, for that episode. And like and subscribe, and I'll see you then.